Julia Tourianski, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause from around the internet for Julia. Hello there.
I'm sorry, it's a little bit hectic. I'm visiting with some friends who are also involved, and it's been a real pleasure listening to everyone. And there's been some great ideological arguments presented and just practical arguments presented, and of course the drug war. And a shout out to Cody for being so generous. I was thinking about all this today, and you can make a million different kinds of arguments, but you know, they claim that they do this for the betterment of society, right? They're protecting the general public. They're protecting the children. This is the kind of narrative we get from our governments. And you know what? When your morality, when your standard of morality is definitely hurting people and only potentially maybe helping a few, hypothetically, then you have to reevaluate that standard of morality. Because, all right, what happened here? There's a website. The website sells some drugs. It has quite a distinct moral code, and it's surprising because when people think of the deep web or dark markets or black markets, you don't think of a moral code that people would write out and make an effort to adhere to. And this is what the Silk Road was. So what happened? They're selling drugs online. Okay, objectively, it is safer to buy drugs online than to go and meet someone in person. Objectively, that's safer. All right. Also, things were made available for people. It is safer to buy drugs online. Sorry, I'm getting a little echo. But also, there were a lot of medicines available online to people who could not purchase them in America or wherever they lived, and they were able to purchase them off the Silk Road. And I personally know someone who had Lyme disease, and she benefited from getting a medicine supplied to her through this black market. And I'm not going to claim that these kind of sales trumped Lyme disease, the pot sales or the Coke sales, but at the end of the day, you have to leave it to individual responsibility and liberty. And at the end of the day, again, taking these the hard substances off streets, I think it's not. I don't think it's a stretch to say that it reduces violence, and we have to look at the laws put into place by governments that claim that they're protecting people when in reality, by all common sense, by all life experience, by all statistics, are not helping people. So, I mean, it's as simple as that. And everyone is a human being, and we have to interact with each other, and we live in society, and aren't governments supposed to protect society and individuals? What do? They throw a guy in jail who wrote a moral code for a black market, which dominated the Silk Roads of the deep web. It dominated it. It had basically a monopoly on the markets online. And then they shut it down, and what happened? All the bad Silk Roads were left. That sold, child pornography, that sold stolen passports, that stolen credit cards, the things that actually directly, with malice or apathy, hurt people. They produced more suffering in the end. They did, and that's just a fact. So there's no argument that stands up to that.
Yes, you raise a very good point. We see what's happening. Well, I would be interested because of what you do. You are making a strong voice for liberty and freedom, for people to defend themselves, to live their lives they want. What draws you to an interest in and support of Ross in what you've seen?
Well, again, I hate that society, and which, again, there's a strong interplay between governments and the direction society goes, and they interact in a very close manner, and they influence the direction that each is going. They follow a similar path, right? So when governments take away the responsibility of individuals from making decisions for their own bodies or for the outcome of their actions, then they turn a whole generation of people into children, and they also alleviate people from responsibility, which is really dangerous, because if you're raised with if you're told by society and by the laws that are acting in society that you are not responsible for yourself, that you're not responsible for your actions or your body, what you do, then people will actually, people who may have that bad streak to do amoral things may be more likely to do them, because they will be absolved of responsibility. Oh, well, it was the website's fault, it was society's fault, it was the legal systems. Like, it's not a good way for our citizens to grow up. Like, the guy that, like, if you overdose on a drug and the only people that are blamed are the producers of the drug, there's something wrong with society. Because at the end of the day, nobody forced the, obviously there's a grander argument to be made. Yes, there's some neighborhoods that the stuff is just funneled into, but again, this is street drugs. Let's stick to online purchase of drugs. This is someone who sits down, thinks about the transaction, figures out how to use Bitcoin, buys a drug, has it shipped, waits a few days. You know, it's not like when you go out to buy drugs on the street, it's a blink of an eye decision. Sometimes it's opportunistic. Sometimes it's like an hour ahead, you plan it. That is more like the argument of general responsibility, societal responsibility is much more applicable to a social interaction where there's drugs involved. There's the peer pressure, there's the neighborhood, there's the danger factor when you're actually there in presence, how much you're gonna buy, how much you're gonna do that night, etc. When you're purchasing something online, all the responsibility is on you. And if there's an overdose, you have to look at the person's history, mental state, family, support systems. And it's just such a, taking responsibility away from the person is a detriment to the way that we live. Because
yes, Julia, I'm going to interrupt you here because I hear what you're saying. We're starting to run out of time, but what you're talking about is individual responsibility. And you have demonstrated that in the work that you do, in how you live, and it just makes so much sense. It's logical, and that's really what we're talking about, taking individual responsibility, being peaceful, and many of the things that you are doing there. And by the way, I was going to ask, are you still up there in the Toronto area?
yes, mostly, yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, how can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about the philosophy you have? And by the way, those of you that are watching, you want to get to know Julie. She's got some great ideas, great videos. I love your YouTube videos. They're really good. Tell us how we can find out more about you.
Everything is on bravetheworld.com, or you can just search Brave the World on YouTube, or even my name, Julia Tourianski. But yeah, I'm on my website, bravetheworld.com, and that's my Twitter handle as well. But yeah, you can't see the stuff in a black and white light. And this case specifically, it's all about the individual responsibility and liability, and the injustice of liability of some person who created a platform with a standard in place.
That's right. Very much so. Well, Julia, thank you for being with us here on the Free Ross-A-Thon. We greatly appreciate it. Lynn, did you want to say anything before we let her go?
Hi, Lynn.
Yeah, Julia. Hi. Julia, so she expresses herself so well. I just want to say I first met you, I remember 3 years ago at PorcFest, and you interviewed me, and I didn't know you, and I've gotten to know you since, and met your family and your baby, and it's just been really wonderful, and you've been such a great support, and I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you so
You've been
much.
a great voice for freedom,
My
too.
heart just continues to break over this case because I'm a mother, I have a son, and this is not the world I want to raise him in. It really is not.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I want to have him grow up free.